For further analysis on the market scene, I'm joined by Jacques Pretorius from Sinayo Securities. Jacques, always a pleasure. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Wonderful, Jacques. Maybe we can start off by just seeing red screens coming out of Europe, red screens coming out of the JSE. What's happening on this Monday afternoon?
Yeah, I think it's two factors. I think towards the end of last week, Colin Powell of the Fed started speaking about keeping rates higher for longer, and that we'll only see a rate decline way into next year or even the year after that. That was the one function. And the other uncertainty in our market is that the way forward with the stimulus out of China. And probably from there that we see the slight weakness in some of our resource plays. So they haven't finalized the plan yet, and it's been slow to get off the ground. So I think a lot of players in the market have been looking for China to recover a lot quicker. I think the recovery will take longer and slower than initially anticipated. And perhaps that's the reason why we see this slight weakness in our market this morning.
Got you, Jacques. Maybe we can also speak about the Rand. The Rand is enjoying some strength, but I'm wondering if that has anything to do with domestic issues or if it really is just the dollar weakening on the other end.
Yeah, I think it's a function of two things. We've seen this load shedding looking a lot better in the last week or so. So certainly there's a slightly more positivity around that. And obviously, yes, the dollar is slightly weaker. I feel at this point is that the Rand's probably seen its strength in the short term. It's quite an important level. We'll be sitting here at around about the 18, let's call it 1825 to 1850 levels. It can break through these levels to the downside or becoming stronger. We can see perhaps another Rand or so in the Rand. But my feel is that we've probably seen the short-term strength that we would like to have had.
Very interesting, Jacques. We're all crossing fingers for a little bit of more strength with our currency. Maybe we can also just look ahead. Not much happening, I think, on the local and global front. We are expecting CPI data to come out here. I'm wondering, if there are any expectations from markets in that regard.
I haven't seen any new expectations coming to the market. I'm thinking that we have peaked in our inflation. I'm hoping that it drifts a bit lower. So that we don't need to actually increase rates anymore. I think our economy is going through a tough time. We can't afford really to have more and more rate cuts, from a growth perspective. And it does seem like the inflation is dissipating a bit. So I think the oil price is helping a bit, stabilizing around about the $70 levels. So hopefully we'll see this trend in the inflation coming lower in the next coming months.
And then we can maybe touch on some results that came out today. Storage, Jacques, I'm wondering what you think of this REIT. It's one of those that I think will do well in good times and will do well in bad times, simply because people always have to store something away for whatever reason. And I think it's quite evident in this set of numbers.
Yes, no, it's a solid set of results, I thought. What to me was very interesting is that they do have a London investment or a UK investment now. And if you look at the space that they invested in South Africa versus that in the UK is only about 10% of the total space that they have in their portfolio. But funny enough, it's 50% of the income. So it just shows you, right, what a huge effect your offshore investments have on your portfolio. So yeah, interesting one, a solid one long term. I like the space they're playing in. Like you say, there's always going to be demand for some storage. So they're doing reasonably well, yes.
Wonderful. And Omnia, what do you make of Omnia today? Jacques, they also, managed to weather the storm. I think doing better than a lot of, other companies that play within and around their sector.
Yes, I think on turnover level, they did a bit better than the market was expected. But I think on the profit levels, right, although they've had a decent year, I think the market was looking for a bit more. And from there, you see the slight weakness in the share price this morning. So yes, solid, I think. But yeah, the market was perhaps looking for slightly more than they actually gave.
I'm wondering if you just look ahead of this sector, and now that also China, that recovery is starting to look just a little bit bleaker than we expected. Omnia, how that would fare for them, Jacques.
Yes, so they do have some exposure outside of South Africa. I think Australia is quite important to them in some way, especially on the mining side. But agricultural is still a large portion of their business, so that's around about half their business in fertilizers and so on. And I think from there we've got a few issues around. From a temperature point of view, from a weather point of view, we've seen a lot of flooding more recently. So all of those things do have some impact on them. Hopefully they can weather that storm as well. But yeah, understand that the company is a bit cyclical in nature. So it obviously has a slightly lower rating in the market.
Then I must ask you, for your stock pick, Jacques, I do believe that you're going for a company that does similar stuff to what Omnia does, but not quite Omnia.
Yes, there's some overlap there. I think just on a much bigger scale to some extent. But yes, I'm going for Sasol today. I think it looks to me like the oil price has been stabilizing recently. It's a nice rand hedge component in Sasol. And it's very cheap, you know, on a 4.5 times forward PE. To me, it looks very attractively priced. It tends to trade at around about a 5.5 on average in the last 2-3 years. And that was a very depressed rating, you know, compared to its history of about 8 to 9 times. So I think it's at least 25% undervalued at this level.
Well, Jacques, I'd like to thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Always a pleasure hearing from you, and have a great week further. And that was your midday markets update with Sinayo Securities' Jacques Pretorius.